Hi everyone in English 1301, it's Dr. E and I'm here with your week 2 instructional video. I need to start off by saying I'm really sorry about all the issues we've had with our course text. I don't know how to explain it. I know other professors are dealing with the same. I'm dealing with it with both of the courses that I'm teaching, both of the different, my literature course and my writing courses. I know it's been frustrating. It's been frustrating for me as well. I'm so sorry, but I'm hoping that most of those problems have been resolved. If they haven't been resolved, sometimes it's going to be me saying you may need to go to the Norton help site because they have a specific area for student help because I'm just not knowledgeable enough to solve some of these problems. But I really want to encourage everybody, just make sure that you're clearing your browsing data. Hopefully you're using Chrome. I feel like Chrome is the most functional when it comes to D2L in general, but even just to use D2L, I have to clear my browsing data quite frequently. I don't know what it is. It's not as though I'm going to a million different websites and I need to just delete all of that. I'm working in this browser, but I have to delete that pretty regularly, and I think that will help with the book issue as well. All right, I'm going to jump in where to go and what to do for this week, but I want to start off just with the course text so that we can walk through that together, maybe put some of your minds at ease. So if I click on the content area where we spend most of our time, I'm going to go to the book and additional readings module. So this is the link to student book access. This is where we will access our book, and I'll put a link. I thought I had done so, but I will after I'm done with the video. I'll put a link here directly to the Norton kind of student help site so that if you need that, it's right there. So if you click on this, you should then come to this. This is what you should see, right? You'll notice it here. It says connected to LMS. Our learning management system is D2L, right? So it's connected. Don't click on purchase options. Don't do any of that. You'll actually, and this doesn't seem intuitive, but if you've worked with Norton enough, they didn't ask me, but I would have designed it differently. Anyhow, you just scroll down and this is our book. Okay, so if you immediately see this and go, oh, well, I shouldn't have to purchase it, you don't. If you just scroll down, this is what you should see. And if you don't, that's when you're going to connect directly with Norton, and I'll put that site, that address in the table of contents in the book and additional readings module. Okay. All right, so going back to the content area, I'm going to jump to our week 2 module. Don't forget, everything for the course is posted here. Make sure you're clicking around. I know it can be overwhelming. I feel as though you should probably still feel a little overwhelmed, and that's not because I think, oh, my class is really complicated. It's because my class looks different from everybody else's, right? So it just takes some time to get used to where to go to access the information that you need. So clicking around is really going to help, I promise. So just spend some time kind of playing around. All right, in week 2, you'll see our schedule, right, which is also available here. So for this week, we're reading an article by Irvin, and it's entitled, What is Academic Writing? And it's posted in the book and additional readings link. So Irvin is right here. Okay, so we'll be reading that, and then everything is posted on Monday. And I do want to make a note to say that when it comes to posting a weekly, our weekly work, everything, the latest, my deadline for posting that week's work and access to everything is going to be noon on Mondays. So if you are trying to access something on Sunday night and you're going, it's not there, what do I do? Don't freak out. Don't email me in a panic. My deadline for everything is usually noon on Monday. So if it's 12:30 on Monday and you don't see it, that's when you can freak out and reach out to me. Oftentimes everything's available much sooner than that, but that there's that final kind of deadline. So just keep that in mind, okay? All right, so everything is visible and ready to go on Monday. We do have a discussion post that's due on Thursday, so you're familiar with this. It's something we did last week. Thank you so much to all of you who shared and interacted with each other. It's been great to get to know you through those posts. This week, it is a requirement that you respond to 2 of your colleagues. I know there have been issues with the quiz, and I wish I could tell you why. I am somewhat tech savvy. It's not, I do know what I'm doing, but it seems like I don't given the issues that we've had. So just be patient with me and forgive me. But I will go in and manually update those quiz scores because I could not tell you how many times I have gone in to adjust the quiz, to reset some of the parameters, and it's just not working. So don't worry, I will go in and do that once all of those have been submitted, okay? All right, so we do have a quiz that's due on Sunday, as well as those 2 responses to colleagues. That's a requirement. So that was one question that threw some of us off. It was not required last week. It was optional last week. You also have a journal, so we're adding a new assignment to our course, and I'll go over that in a second. And then we have that student survey. Some of you may have experienced a problem with the link, so I've updated that. It should be working now. I also have made a link for our course for the Remind app. Some of you may be familiar with the app, and it's just kind of set up to allow for notifications. So I can send, you know, a note to everybody and say, hey, don't forget that this assignment is due, or hey, I just wanted to let you know things won't be available by noon on Monday, or, you know, whatever the case may be. It's just a way to reach out. So it goes to your phone, right? It's a notification, but it's not required because I know some of you are parents and you already get a million notifications about what's going on with your kiddos, or some of you, you know, have all these apps associated with your work or whatever the case. So you're just inundated already and you don't want to add another thing, and you feel pretty comfortable with how things are set up in the course. It's not a requirement, but it's there if you want to. So this is the direct link to set up with our course. And then there's the Q&A area. I really appreciate that so many of you have taken advantage of this and have helped one another. It just helps me so much to know what your questions are and to have those visible so other folks can jump in to see that they're not the only ones with the question. You're watching what will appear right here. And if you have questions about how to set up Remind, here is a link. And then there's the link for our specific course right there as well. So for week 2, our discussion post, it's going to be related to Irvin's article, which is, I think it's like my favorite way to start off a semester, because Irvin does a really great job of going in and identifying these things we have learned somehow throughout our writing history and our experiences, but he kind of throws them to the side and says, no, those are myths. That is not reality when it comes to academic writing. And so it takes us some time to unlearn these things and think about them as myths, but they are. So take some time to read through. And so this will make more sense once you've read it, right? So, you know, I want you to write paragraphs that are about 4 to 5 sentences, right? Remember to revise and edit. It's one paragraph related to the myth you most identify with. Do you still believe it? Right. And I've given you an example because you do want to directly reference Irvin's article, right? Support our ideas. So I've given you an example of how to do that using page numbers, et cetera, et cetera. So your post is due by Thursday, and then your response to colleagues due by Sunday. And this is one of those assignments, the only assignment that is not subject to a grace period, because that is us interacting with one another. So make sure that if you need to, get this done early so that if Thursday rolls around and you can't do that, you've already completed the work. Okay, so getting back to our weekly module, we also have a food journal. And so what I want to note is that we're going to be reading a lot about writing in general, right? It's a writing course. And so a lot of our, you know, texts that we're going to read focus specifically on the act of writing, what we've learned about writing, what strategies, what skills we want to use. But then what do we do with it, right? Then what do we do with all this knowledge that we're gaining about writing? Well, we're going to take all of that and kind of start applying it to, you know, our specific writing. And so in order to do that, we need kind of a unifying theme with our course, right? Because I just don't feel as though it's useful to have a different topic every single week, right? We're learning about different topics associated with writing, but then when we are putting that writing into effect, if we stick with one major topic, I think that really helps us, you know, focus our ideas and focus what we've learned. So food is going to be that unifying theme or idea. And that's because food we can relate in some way to food. You know, we all eat, right? So it's something that we do as communities. It's something that we look to for comfort at times. It's something that is connected to our, you know, the different levels of like, let me pause for 1 second. I have a cat issue. Sorry. If you have cats, you know how demanding they are. Anyhow, so food is that unifying theme, right? So it can be a fun and interesting topic, but sometimes food is a complicated topic for some of us for whatever reasons. So this is also about taking care of yourself. So reach out to me directly if food is just something that you don't feel as though you can kind of center your writing on, which is absolutely fine, right? This is one of those, like, this should not be something painful. So just reach out to me. All right. So in 2 to 3 paragraphs of about 4 to 5 sentences, I want you to think about what your comfort food might be. You know, what is the meal? Why did you choose this? Does it have significance? Kind of dig into that. I've given you an example just of the writing, and at the time I wrote this, I was really feeling like I had some nostalgia for these particular bagels and these particular meals because I wasn't feeling great. I'm still working on that. So just an example, and please use the templates. These are blank MLA templates that you just kind of fill in with your own information. And if you want to use it through Google Docs, you can click this link or download to Microsoft Word. And that's because setting up MLA formatting is not the easiest when it comes to using Word or Google Docs, and that's because the defaults are really weird. Like Calibri is the default font, which I absolutely hate. The size of the font, the spacing, it's a mess. So I have set up these templates. Please use them. And part of this is also the first thing I see when I open your work is the formatting, right? So start off on a good note. Follow the formatting. For uploaded assignments, we have to follow MLA. For the discussion post, that's different because we can't format in the same way, and that's fine. But for uploaded assignments, we need to follow MLA formatting guidelines, so use the template. And you'll just click upload, you'll find the document, and then make sure that you click submit when you're done. Okay, so that is the food journal. In addition to the discussion post, the responses to the discussion post, as well as the quiz, or I'm sorry, as well as the journal, you do have the weekly quiz, and that's just based on everything. This video, it's based on all your reading and all of that, and then you have that student survey to complete. So those links are here, and there should be a checklist, but I'm not seeing it. So I will go in and make sure that that checklist is visible so that if you just need an additional tool to make sure that you've done everything that's needed for the week, you have that. As always, if you have any questions, please post in the Q&A discussion board. If you want to answer one another there, if you feel confident in knowing the answer, then by all means, reach out and do that. I'm always in there. I'm always double checking things. But you can always reach out to me directly. You can do so through the Remind app if you want to set that up, or via email. Some people have texted through my Google Voice, and that's fine. Just maybe not at like 3 a.m. Nobody's done that. Nobody's done that yet, but it's happened in the past. So I will only answer, you know, during office hours for sure, but also during, you know, normal working hours. All right, so hope y'all are feeling okay about moving forward in the class. I know it's been a bit frustrating up to this point. I hope most of those frustrations are in the past now, but let me know. So have a great week and good luck.